This is an Audi A3 Black Edition from 2012 with a 2-litre diesel engine that makes 147 horsepower. It has a 0 to 60 time of 8.2 seconds and a top speed of 134 miles an hour, making it by far the fastest car that I have reviewed yet. Now, you may have noticed a trend in my review videos that normally they're based around the cars being the best first cars, but this is a second car video. This was bought by my friend Ben at 72,000 miles for around about 8.5 grand, which is a bit more pricey than the first cars, but it's a very good second car. It's very practical, as we'll get onto. You'll see loads of boot room, loads of interior space. It's very nice inside. It looks flashy enough. You can go to work in this thing, I'd imagine. Not only can you drive an A3 to work, which in itself is not an overly good point, you can drive an A3 to your big business black tie, golfing on the weekends, and definitely spending enough time with your family work. As in 2012, the A3 won the Business Cars Lower Medium Award due to its desirable badge, range of engine types, range of doors, and being a prestigious brand without having high running costs. Now, as you can see, this is a very good looking car, at least in my opinion. I mean, I feel like we see Audis like this around so much that kind of get used to the sight of them, but when you actually stop and look, especially the Black Edition ones, which come with some extra little darker trim bits to make it look even nicer, they're very good looking cars. Audi's done a very good job of making a good looking car which looks not shouty, not in your face as some certain other brands can be, but also it looks like an upgrade over like a Golf or a Focus or something like that. You can tell there's a differentiation between them. It just looks a little bit more suave, but subtly, like a tree or something. Now we're on to the interior of the car, and I must say, it is a very nice one. You've got a lovely steering wheel here. It's got a flat bit at the bottom. I love flat bit at the bottom steering wheels. It makes it feel sporty. It's got the S-line on it. It's got, I think, I don't know if it's real or fake leather, but it's very nice indeed. It's also multi-control, so you've got your sound and stuff like that on here. Then you've got nice infotainment radio system. You haven't got touchscreen or anything like that. You've got buttons, which a lot of people prefer. I don't mind either, but at least I suppose for this period of time it is a good one. And you've got cubby holes down on either side. You've got a decent sized, whatever that's called. What's that called?
Glove box.
Glove box, yeah, thank you. It's got a decent sized glove box in there. You've also got a very nice Bose sound system, which sounds very good. Very, very good bass, as I have discovered on the drive here. You also have a couple of small issues. The vents are a little bit prone to breaking. They've been fixed a couple of times in here, and also the handrest here, or the armrest I suppose I should say, also has broken a couple of times. And another issue with that is that it can kind of get in the way of the handbrakes. Often on shorter journeys you'll find yourself just leaving it up because you need to get to it. But to counteract that, it has an absolutely lovely gear stick. It is perfectly round, as all good VW ones often are. It has 6 gears, which is very cool, but it's a beautiful gear knob, I must say. Only problem is plugging in the sat nav or something into the cigarette lighter here, it can get in the way of gear changes a little bit just because it sort of blocks the way, but I suppose over time you'd get used to that. And other than that, it's comfortable. It's comfortable in here. You can spend long journeys in here. It's a good cruiser. You've got a good view out, pretty much unrestricted all the way around, not big A-pillars or anything like that. There's not much more to say. All right, now we're into the interior back, as I've written in my notes that it's called. And once again, it's comfortable. There's loads of leg room. I was saying there's not a ton of headroom. I mean, I'm not a tall person, but if I was a bit taller, I could have my head on the ceiling. But when you're leaning back, there is a little bit more. So that may be worth bearing in mind if you have abnormally large friends. It also does suffer from the same problem that my car does. There aren't many cubby holes in the back. There's no pocket on the back of the front seat, and also it's not a soft back front seat, so you wouldn't be able to attach one there or anything very easily because it wouldn't Velcro to it. So there's nothing there, but there's also none down in the side. You've got the lovely speakers once again, but no side door pockets. You've only got a little tiny bit of space down here, which, if I'm honest, I don't think you could fit much in. Maybe your fist, sort of. Not entirely sure why you'd be bringing your fist along, not attached, but it's comfortable at least, and there's leg room. But other than that, there isn't really much going on in here, but at least it is a 5-door car, so you can get in and out easily. As you know, I'm a 5-door fan. No 3 doors allowed, thank you very much. All right, now onto the boot, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a good boot. I mean, there's not loads to say about that, but it's very, very practical. There's a ton of space inside. In fact, 365 litres with the back seats up, which is a ton of space, to be honest, for a hatchback. It's very good. And although it does pain me to say this, it is actually more than you have in my Mark IV Golf, which I love the fact that it's very practical and you can fit tons in. And to prove the fact that it is bigger, I have brought a printout of my car. And as you can see, you can fit an entire Mark IV Golf in the boot of the Audi A3. And that is mad. With the seats down, however, you get 1,100 litres of space, a decent amount, even if the seats don't quite fold flat. Apart from this though, the only slight problem is that with the seats down, you get less space than you get in my car. So, I'll be honest, I don't entirely remember my point with that, but my point still stands. Now onto the Pistole engine, the engine. To reiterate the specs from earlier, it's a 2-litre TDI that gives 147 horsepower. It's a pretty good engine, similar to the 1.9-litre TDI that was used for years in loads of VW Group cars. It's got a decent amount of power, you'll be accelerating up hills without a second thought, which can't be said for my car, and a top speed of 134 can't be complained about. What can be, however, is the fact that this A3 and engine didn't do particularly well in reliability surveys, and compared to some other rivals, it has more common faults that can sometimes result in expensive fixes. So, I recommend some research and checking out a car before buying it. Other than that tiny, minor detail though, it's a good engine. Speaking of the good engine, I think it is time that we went for a little drive in the car. Or at least a little ride in the car, because I can't drive it. Legally. Alright, as you may be able to tell, we are now driving away. Can't say I'm driving, but I think the most noticeable thing for me is that it just puts a smile on my face so much. And I think that might be partially because I haven't been in a lot of fast cars in my time, but it's just fun to drive. You can feel the power. It really has enough of it. I mean, there aren't that many cars that are as fun as hatchbacks. I think that's generally agreed upon, unless you have the money for something like a Ferrari or something, of course, but there are currently horses in the road, little horse brake. Although the car can be driven like how you'd expect an Audi driver to drive it, it can also get around a reasonable 50 mpg, which ain't bad. It also gives you a comfortable ride, a good view out the cabin, and yes, I'm aware this is a terrible GoPro shot. Nice ceiling though. So, to conclude, it is a good car. It does have a few faults which could potentially put you off, but often mechanics are now well versed in repairing its common issues without it being too expensive or complicated. As well as this, the rest of the car is great. From interior to exterior, practicality to fun, it's a great all-round car. If you find an A3 you like, do a little research on the particular engine, model, etc. Check it hasn't got anything dodgy looking, and then, well, it could be a great option, no matter whether it's your first, second, third, or even your fifth car. There isn't much more to say. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. It's been a little bit more all over the place. It maybe seems a bit less planned than it might be, but thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and yeah, have a good day. Goodbye.